Rotary Conference 2022 to be held next June 4th through the 8th on 2020. And that is the goal of the Houston Committee, the state of Texas, and all the RI convention leaders and delegates. They are truly excited about providing all of you the best convention that you have ever attended. Just imagine communicating and socializing with 30 to 40,000 international Rotarians, all from all around the world, all under the Texas skies, and all right here in the USA. From the humble beginnings of this great city, Houston has been led by people of action who have taken the city to its great heights, including to the moon and back. The city has plenty of activities to entertain you, in addition to 3 full days of Rotary sessions, learning and teaching and friend-making sessions at the George R. Brown Convention Center in the middle of downtown Houston. You will also be delighted and enjoy the visiting special events that they have offered for you, from the Lone Star Flight Museum to the SaberCats rugby game at night in their newest sports arena. They're also going to be offering the Houston Dynamo soccer game while you all are there. The Kimmel Boardwalk along the Gulf Coast. Houston's not far from the Gulf Coast. I won't go with the tornadoes and hurricanes, but anyway. The Discovery Green Welcome event, a tour of the Space Center Houston, an evening of magical entertainment hosted by Magic on the Bayou, Rotary Night at the Museum of Natural History or at the Houston Holocaust Museum, and of course, a shopping tour of the Galleria, their world-famous premier shopping center. Houston's deep diversity has resulted in some of the world's best cuisine, which varies from Creole to Chinese to Thai to Italian to Argentinian, and especially their Tex-Mex and their world-famous barbecue. They want you all to come and enjoy it. Please consider registering in the near future at convention.rotary.org. That's convention.rotary.org. Hotels and availability at many of these special venues will be filling up very quickly. And your best bet for joining in the full experience of the Houston Convention and the Houston City environs and events will be to sign up between now and December the 15th. That cost right now is $475 if you are over the age of 31. But to encourage the younger Rotarians to participate, that cost is only $100, which is an amazing price for registration. For registration, hotel and all these events are a little bit extra. These prices will increase beginning the 15th of December. So this is your best bet to sign up at a reasonable cost. You're going to be receiving more information from me during the next year. Fred and I have already signed up. We're looking forward to seeing all of you there. So I hope that you will please enjoy a video that is presented by the City of Houston.
We are excited to invite you to 2022 Rotary International Convention, Houston, Texas.
There are no limits to what can be discovered.
Our horizons are changing, but we remain resilient.
Because it's in our nature to break down barriers.
To explore the vast world of ideas, culture, and experiences.
The very things that give us new meaning to life.
So what better time than now to take action?
And push the boundaries of what's possible.
To join forces and do something that revitalizes the spirit.
form connections that broaden our worldview, share our passion for service with other leaders,
and become inspired to do great things along the way.
Let's take on new horizons and see what's possible.
Because our potential has no limits.
Discover new horizons at the 2022 Rotary International Convention in Houston, Texas.
Come, let's discover new horizons at the 2022 Rotary International Convention, Houston, Texas.
So, are you ready to go to Houston? I am. I've already got my tickets, my registration, my plane tickets. It's going to be a great convention. We have not had a Rotary International Convention, not last year, not this year. So it will be 3 years, and it will be fantastic, and it is going to sell out fast. I predict that. So get your tickets fast. And if you've never been to an international convention, you see Rotary on a scale that you will never see again. So let me urge you to sign up. So today it is my honor to introduce our second keynote speaker, Vanessa Ervin. Vanessa is a former district governor, past district governor of 7730, which is the southeastern part of North Carolina. Vanessa was district governor in 2014-15 in Tom Faulkner's year, which is why Tom is serving as her aide today. She is a member of the Rotary Club of Jacksonville, North Carolina. She has served in numerous positions in Rotary in the club level, the district level, and the zone level. She embodies Rotary's motto of service above self. She demonstrates her compassion for healthier communities worldwide through global grants and has participated in projects to establish solar water systems in Guyana and has established a Rotary dialysis center in India. She also has led a vocational training team of medical and healthcare professionals to India, and she is in her day job, which I can imagine Vanessa having a day job. She does so much volunteer work. In her day job, she is president and CEO of Caravel Inc., which is a nonprofit healthcare provider dedicated to 24-hour care and responsive services for children and adults with diagnosed intellectual development disabilities. She is an ordained minister, and she has dedicated her life to civic service and the quality and accessibility of healthcare. She has traveled nationally and internationally, participating in communities and service ventures while championing healthcare. And her brother and sister-in-law live in Simpsonville. And so joining us today is Rudy Lee Mobley, her brother, and his wife, Rochelle. So thank you and welcome as our guest today. Vanessa is in great demand as a motivational and inspirational speaker, not just for Rotary, but for other things. You're going to see why in a few minutes. She helped train, and this is, do not blame her for how we turned out. She helped train the district governors at Carolina's Pets, the Flamingo governors, the ones in North Carolina and South Carolina. I absolutely am delighted to introduce to you one of the most inspirational and motivational people I know, Vanessa Ervin, all the way from
Good afternoon. Well, I'm so delighted to be here today and to have the opportunity to be a part of this wonderful conference that's taking place. As I was preparing and thinking about what I wanted to say, I recognized that the invitation from District Governor Beth is allowing me to really share a passion and an inspiration that I have, and that is building bridges of hope to those who are in need. Again, I want to recognize my brother, Rotary Mobley, and also Rochelle, my sister-in-law. They live in Simpsonville. We're originally from Chicago, and what an opportunity through COVID, for us to be locked in, for me to be able to get all this business paid trip here to see them. So thank you. Rotary, a bridge to hope. Most of you have heard about civil engineers, yet few know what these highly trained professionals do. Amongst other things, they are the heroes who design, build, maintain road, utilities, and infrastructures. If you possess the desire to make a difference, place a value on people, and are willing to team up with others, then you are those engineers. Building a bridge and hope for others with the expectation and confidence, and that the desired outcome will change an individual, a community, and the world at large. Every one of us want our lives to matter. I love what Rabbi Harold Krishna says. He says, our souls are not hungry for fame, comfort, or wealth. Our souls are hungry for meaning, to make a difference, to figure out that our lives matter, and that in the world, when we pass through it, we would have made it a little bit better. So you see, your life can be a story. When you meet people for the first time, I want you to do this. Ask them, who are you? Where have you been? Tell me about yourself. What have your experiences been? Because we have to make those connections, and we have to be intentional about those connections that we make. And we do that by building bridges of hope. I hope today to build such a bridge with you. In preparing to share the first of 3 stories with you today, I was reminded of an opportunity to visit the National Museum of African American History in Washington, D.C. It was a private dinner hosted by the American Hospital Association, and Gene Woods, chairman and CEO of Adrian Health, was the chairman and the CEO of our board. And it was his celebration, and I was a member of the national board at the time. But in the alcoves of that museum, on the lower level, lies the casket of a 14-year-old Emmett Till, a Chicago teenager who was kidnapped, brutally murdered, and his body thrown into the Tallahassee River by visiting his uncle in Money, Mississippi. There's a song that's written by Bob Dylan. It's called The Ballad of Emmett Till. Think about the lives of those in our local and global communities who lives building a bridge to connect. So today we look for better outcomes, but we can only do that if our intentionality is started from the beginning. So come on, travel back with me. It's the year 1957. Go ahead, be brave enough to raise your hand. Let me see it. I see it. And if you were born after then, I want you to stand so we can see who you are. You were born after 1957. Wow, someone said you're showing off. I know, exactly. So all we can do, your baby is going to die. Imagine such words, such direct words. The future, I imagine for her, these words went against all hope. And this mother was thinking, I'm not about to allow my baby to die. At some point in time, I think she probably took a pause in her spirit. And she began to think, no opportunity to create the life between birth and death. Because words convey a powerful thing. Now, she was grateful for the past concerns of the doctors and the nurses and the reason that they said that, but this moment in time was beyond her reason to even think, my baby is going to die. You know, it takes courage to reject the obvious in hopes of the impossible. But going to die, there was something about that she was rejecting. That day, she decided, I'm not going to allow my baby, that coldest, innocent baby, to die. But still, it was the finality of those words that this mother refused to embrace. We know that bravery is not seen when your limits are put to the test, because oftentimes that may take great courage. But courage is not having the strength to go on when you want to. Courage is having the strength when you don't want to go on, when you do it afraid. Have you ever been in a situation where you had to do something afraid? I have, making the decisions perhaps in the parent at the end of life situation. How much longer do we linger when you're looking to make those decisions? But I got good news here for you. The conclusion of that story is this: she did take her baby out of the hospital. And that baby struggled all night long. As day went into night, and the night went into the day. And then those days went into weeks, and those weeks went into years. Even until adulthood, that baby had numerous health problems. But here today, I'm telling you that that baby, expected to die, has made an impact on thousands of lives across global communities. That baby is me. For the dialysis center, with 1.2 million people have no dialysis, a governor said to me, "Can you not help me to do it better, Vanessa?" And I remember saying yes in my heart, not realizing the thousands of dollars it would take to accomplish something. I live in North Carolina, in India, such a far, far place. But I recognize that when I said yes, in my heart, it was an obligation to make a difference to people that I had never seen before. As a healthcare administrator, I know the value of life. I work with some of the most medically fragile children in the world who had a prognosis to live maybe 2 or 3 years. But I recognize that hope is a powerful tool. Hope is a powerful experience. Hope allows you to get up when you don't feel like getting up the next day. Hope allows you to push through when the impossible seems impossible. But doing it afraid, no matter how long and how big the task may be. To see mothers who say to you when you go to see them, "I have clean water today, Governor, because you put a solar water system in our community. Now my children live to fulfill their destiny." And then schools in Guyana, 3 elementary schools that our charity, the Rotary Foundation, has funded so that children can now have an education. And now we've built a junior high. So those remote villages now have the extension of education, because we all would agree that education is the way out of poverty. Educate a youth and allow them to change the world. And then to China to be a disability ambassador, to stand up before leaders of China and say, "It's wrong for you to kill your babies when they are born with mental retardation." Doing it afraid. Doing it afraid. But that day, my voice with others made a difference. In intentional life that was built bridges for others. That's what my mother allowed me to do, by not letting me die that night. Who knew? Who knew that the gifts and talents that lie within me, a premature 33-year-old, 33 days later, after Emmett Till had died, who knew that this baby would make a difference? But what you don't know is that Emmett Till's mother, Mamie Till Mobley, is my aunt. And I never got to meet Emmett. My brother Lee got his bicycles and his toys, not even recognizing and realizing what had taken place. But my Aunt Mamie taught us this, that we were not going to allow the DNA of hatred to influence another generation. Given a chance of life, intentionality, she was making a difference as she stood for the advocacy of civil rights. Because she said that prejudices can kill and suspicions can destroy. But she wanted us to understand that today we would not grow up with hatred in our hearts. So we stand here as Rotarians, as citizens, as a diverse community, not only serving, but learning to include those so they can sit at the table and also have a say-so and the know-so of what we want to do for them. You see, when I started leading my life for the benefit of others, adding value to them, a whole other world opened up. I learned that to value every opportunity. And my Rotary Foundation and its global impact allowed me to have the opportunity to make a difference. So I say to you, keep on dreaming, dream big, dream audacious, big dreams, because the only limitations are those that you place on yourself. When you have an idea, if you think that it's the only one that you're gonna have, you know what? You'll be a hoarder. Don't hoard your ideas. But if you realize, I've got this wonderful ideal and I've got big dreams and I can see other ideals that I can connect to, then you will be willing to share your ideas with others. So as Rotarians, we should be ones who build the bridges of hope, and we should be able to define our intentionalities from the start. So here's a wisdom thought. Our destiny is determined not by what we possess, but what possesses us. Well, I'll say it again. Our destiny is determined not by what we possess, but what possesses us. So my question to you today is, what is reflected in your possibilities today that would change tomorrow? By living a life of intentionality, I have connected and formed relationships with people from all over the world. And I often say this, Tom, we are one relationship away from making a difference. One relationship away. So the next story is 38 years later when I go to China. And I'm traveling for the Peoples to People initiative that was launched by President Dwight D. Eisenhower in 1956. And here the American Association of Mental Retardation, now intellectual disability, had invited me, as I said, to go to China with them as a disability ambassador. But what I'd love to share about you is this. President Eisenhower said this: after witnessing the horrors of the Holocaust, I recognized surely that to break fear and misunderstanding was for people to understand one another. He knew that for this to be effective, it must not come from the government. It has to come from the heart of people who have a desire, a yearning for dignity and freedom and peace for all. I remember it being a garden trip, and I remember as we were gathering in front of those leadership, and I remember saying that my scope today is to have no preconceived ideas, because when you've never traveled to another nation before and you're not sure what you're going to be up against, you have to recognize that don't have any preconceived ideals, but be open to the values and the differences of the cultures that you will see. Because significance is always about others and serving them deliberately. When you can change your thinking from what am I going to receive to what am I going to give, your entire life will turn around. This intentional exchange helped me to alter the lenses in which I would engage opportunities. Because sometimes as bridge builders, we exchange our dialogue to find mutual grounds by which we can adapt into design. So therefore, here we are in 1997, a year later, I will once again find myself traveling for the People to People initiative. And this time, 2 weeks after Mother Teresa had died. I arrived in Delhi. Wow, I had such wonderful accommodations. And if I can be honest with you all, I was full of myself. This newfound quest and my perception was slightly altered as I viewed from the top, quickly changed when I got to ground zero. Because I began to see abject poverty that I had never seen before. And I can tell you, my biases began to become overt. Because I saw the lack of, and I had a different view. And I was overwhelmed by what I saw, but my biases were overt. Because when you see something that you've never seen before, it's amazing how our flesh can speak negatively about what we see. Let me encourage you today. When you see something that's different from yours, don't say something. Don't say something. Listen and observe. I've learned not to judge a book by its cover, because the content of that book has rich values and stories that we've never heard before, but stories that will allow us to grow and to be accepted of other one's views. But on this day, I remember the passing of Mother Teresa and the opportunity to be able to go there and what was important to me. But I will also tell you this, that my knowledge of Rotary International, would not be discovered until 13 years after I had become a Rotarian. I became a Rotarian in the year 1992, and I did not know the global impact of Rotary International until 13 years later. I had traveled to India on business, and I found myself in 2005 at the Rotary Centennial celebration in Chicago. And when I arrived, I'm walking through the House of Friendship, and I see on the sign, it says, the House of Jaipur, the Jaipur Limb Factory. And I remember stepping back and saying, what does my Rotary have to do with the Jaipur Limb Factory? I had been there 13 years earlier. What I didn't know was that Rotary is more than just a local organization. It is a global organization. It wasn't until I walked the House of Friendship in Chicago that I saw the true diversity and the inclusion of Rotary International. When I saw the beautiful women in their Asian gowns and the beautiful African women in their adornment, I did not know that my Rotary was even connected to a global community. Because I was a local Rotarian, meeting the needs of my local community, blindsided to the eye of Rotary International. But I'm here to tell you today that eye has become my intentionality. And now when I serve and when I look, I've learned to listen, to appreciate the value, and then I learned to include others to help me to accomplish that goal. The world of Rotary was an impact that I didn't know. I didn't know about polio eradication, and I went to India. I didn't know the Rotary was even a part of the global initiative to eradicate polio. The pushback to do anything international, we're just gonna take care of our own. But I've come to learn, when you take care of others, others will take care of you. In my club, many years ago, we know that in our communities, we have food deserts. How many of you have food deserts in your community? Yes. So I'm here to tell you about the reversal of helping others. Several years ago, 2 clubs in India put up $10,000 apiece and sent it for a grant to Eastern North Carolina. And then when all of the different, what I call Rotary math was added to it, $80,000 came to Eastern North to feed children in my district, to help me feed the children in my district. And my sponsor, who I love dearly, disciplined me verbally and said, how could you take money from India, from those poor people? Shame on you for taking that money. Do you see why I didn't have a connection to the global community? Because I was with people who were blindsided that we're one community, we're one community, we're one community. And those who are of us who are of the Christian faith, we believe in one God, one people. And so I didn't allow him to take the compassion from me. And I said, well, one day, if your children, someone ever have a need, never be in a situation where you're going to tell someone not to help your grandchildren or your children's children. And we're going to stand as a connection of Rotary to make a difference. So 10 years later, I found myself in that situation. So now we go to the Rotary Club in Brazil, and while there, we're at the Rotary International Convention in Brazil. And I tell you this because if you have never been to a Rotary International Conference, you want to make the connection. My sister traveled with me there, and as we were walking, I can remember hearing this, Vanessa! Vanessa! And I turned to my sister, I said, I am clueless to who that is. It's calling my name. And as a lady got closer to me,
She embraced me and she said, "You are that Vanessa from Facebook." And as Paul Hart would say, you know the rest of the story. Many of you all know. And I share that because this is the engagement that we get to have as the people of Rotary. When I talk about the people of Rotary, I talk about the family of Rotary, because that's what I see you. When I was invited to come, I have been here for many different past governors who have allowed me to come to be a part. So I want to close with this final story. And as I recap it, I want to talk about a gentleman that I had an opportunity to hear about. So here I am, and it is the time that I've seen Mother Teresa, but another time is now the year 2015-16. And this is actually a story that's dear to my heart, and it's spoken passionately from Rotary International President Ravi Ravindra. And Ravi's central location is India. One day, a man knocks at the door of the it was Mother Teresa's office in Calcutta. I had an opportunity to go there. And he says, "Is Mother Teresa in?" The nun politely says yes, and she points in that direction. As he began to walk, he began to see what I thought perhaps I saw. I saw the abandoned. I saw the broken. I saw the destitute. I saw those who were hopeless. I saw individuals who had no limbs to walk on and swords this big on their bodies who were excluded. I knew Mother Teresa had picked them up off the street because she believed in dignity of life and dignity of death. And as he approached, he sees Mother Teresa, and he's so excited to see her. And as he helps her up from where she was being kneeling, because she was cleaning the latrine. And he says, "Mother Teresa," and as he's helping her up, she swiftly hands him the brush and says, "We'll talk after the work is done." Here this distinguished gentleman thinking, "We'll talk when the work is done." His customized suit, I imagine, sir, that he took off his jacket slowly as he folded under, perhaps even putting it underneath his knee, as he began to clean the commodes, the latrine that Mother Teresa had asked him to do. On that day, when he finished, he got up and he found her. He said, "Mother Teresa, I am such and such from the airlines which will be traveling for your next trip. And I wanted to personally come by to meet you and to bring you the tickets." But on that day, he learned that I was able to put my hands to the work of Mother Teresa. And that's where I felt I had made the greatest difference in my life. That day, he put his hands to the work of Mother Teresa. And that day, he felt I had done my greatest work. Sometimes we have to kneel. Sometimes in kneeling, we have to pray. Sometimes in bending, we hurt. Sometimes in reaching, we extend. But in all of this, we're making a life for others who perhaps felt the bridges of hope would not be possible. This is the unedited comment from this gentleman. And this is what he said. "That day, I learned to serve when I got to put my hands to the work of Mother Teresa. And I felt the most valued than others." Before I close, I'd like to recognize 3 community engineers who have gone above and beyond, inspiring us through the vision of hope they have built for others. And if you're here, I'm going to ask you to stand. Assistant Governor Rashika Bush, from the Rotary Club of Aiken Sunrise, always eager to serve with a smile on her face. Rashika became interested in Rotary when she was on the group study exchange team. She joined the Breakfast Club in Aiken in 2010 and quickly became involved. Became an assistant governor,
serves as the advisor to the South Asian Interaction. By she is a life of the Rashida. The second of the Bridge Builders of Hope is Club President Teresa Markey. I don't know if Ms. Teresa is here today. Teresa is one of District 7750's youngest club presidents, an ambassador for young professionals, and has led the Reading River Greenville Club this year. By profession, she is a graphic artist, designer, and storyteller. She graduated from Coastal Carolina University in 2017 and was inducted into Rotary as a Rotary Dual member. Her passion for children inspired her to build a bridge of hope for 35 young children in Diamond City, Philippines, to receive cleft palate surgeries, continuing her compassion with her work through her church. And District Governor Beth wants y'all to know that it's her huge contributions to the graphics and design that allowed y'all to have the beautiful programs and things that you have. So let's give her a hand. And we saw this gentleman earlier, Scott Powers. Scott is still out in the audience. Scott Powers. He's the meeting past president and Rotary Club of Greenville, and by profession is a vice president of the Greenville architecture firm. His wife Pam, keep standing. Yeah. His wife Pam is a teacher, and Scott has a passion, as you saw on the video, to build bridges of hope by recognizing teachers who are true architects of hope by providing students with the additional support. And I want to say this because you heard Scott and Pam tell their story. But for years, he has been the judge for the Greenville County Teacher of the Year. And Scott, those children know that you are the biggest cheerleaders, and I'm grateful and honored to meet you, sir. Keep on keeping on. Let's give him a hand. President Teresa Markey and immediate past President Scott Powers, you have demonstrated that bridges are built by people for people. As bridge builders have to create more people bridges in order to create physical bridges. And those bridges are established from our relationships and our links with others. So in closing, thank you, Beth, for allowing me to come. And I didn't mean to get this emotional, but I'm telling you, I'm grateful to be here. I've seen some of the worst of the worst, but today I get to see the best of the best. And that's you. And to see all of the opportunities that you have opened doors for citizens globally and locally. So I hope today that I establish a bridge by sharing my story with you today, because I know that you have built some bridges this year, but you also have some suspension bridges that are in the works. And I know in your new leadership, you have some future bridges to build. So in sharing today, know that hope is a powerful tool. It's been said, the pessimist complains about the wind, so that's all again. The optimist expects it to change, but the Rotarian adjusts itself and keep hope alive. Thank you.
Vanessa, thank you very, very much. Your reputation as a motivational and inspirational speaker is well deserved. We have time for 1/16 question. Vanessa, before you go, we just wanted to say to you that you have inspired us to be more intentional, and that word has been used frequently today, and also to try to be that bridge to hope for the people that we need our hope. And we know that the Rotary Foundation charities are very special to you, and I hope that you will allow us to have made a donation in your honor and to that great cause. Safe travels back to Eastern North Carolina. And again, thank you, Vanessa. Thank you. And now, something that you didn't even know you were waiting breathlessly for. It's trivia time. So here are the ground rules. There will be 6 questions, and the winner of each question will receive a fabulous prize, which pales, which pales in comparison to the bragging rights that you will receive. So if you win one question, you cannot win again. So if you know the answer, just sit on your hands and whisper it to the person hearing you. On the other hand, you are welcome to lose as many times as you want. So here's how this will work. At least this is how it's supposed to work on paper. It's very complicated. So pay attention. So wait until I have finished reading the slide. I'm going to say this again because I know that some of you are so excited that you're going to forget. So wait until I finish reading the slide. Okay. And then if you think you know the answer, jump straight up in the air, put one hand over your head, and clamp the other one on your mouth. And then one of our talented microphone runners will come to you, and that's the point at which they will choose which one was first and which one maybe has to be kept in. Oh, you are just okay. Scott is the chooser there, and yeah, so one of our runners will get to you, and it has to be the person who has jumped up at the right time, which is. Oh my gosh, that wasn't even all of me. That was terrible. Yes, after I've read the question. And if you have your hands in the right places. Okay. So you will then give your response. And if you're right, then our other talented bag retrieval person who's been training for this job all week will take a bag to you, a wonderful prize to you. And if you're wrong, we will go to the next fastest responder. So this is, I have to tell you that this is one of the last things that I get to do today. So and after the way the morning started, I'm declaring that the decision is all mine about who is chosen here and whether your answer is correct. So in other words, my decision is final. And just practicing my leadership opportunities and very possibly my conflict and peace and conflict resolution skills. So don't test me. Okay, are there any questions? Are our microphones, printers ready? Okay, bag retrieval. Ready? Spotters are ready? All righty, here we go. How many people attended the first Rotary meeting on Thursday evening, February 23rd, 1905?
1, 2.
A microphone person is running over. 4. That is correct. They were. And Gustavus Lord. Okay, question number 2. Who was the first Rotary Club president? I can hear the wheels turning. Oh, there's a tentative hand in the back. Here we go.
2.
You are all following directions so well. This is just extraordinary. Yes.
1.
Paul Harris? No, it was not Paul Harris, but that was a wonderful guess. That is, oh, yes, get the microphone. Where's your hand? There.
Sheely.
That is correct. And the reason that Paul Harris did not become the first Rotarian president was because he wanted to sort of be more in the background and help recruit membership for the Rotary Club. Well done, sir. Well done. Next slide. Men with Friends, the Blue Boys, the Conspirators, and the Round Table. What?
You didn't finish the question.
If she gets it. What do these things have in common?
1. Somebody stand up. 2.
I think those were the potential names of what they were going to call the group.
That was right. At the third meeting of the club in Chicago, each of these names was considered a possibility. Eventually, thank goodness, they decided to call it Rotary. Next question. How much were the annual dues at the first Rotary Club?
1.
Can you say that a little bit louder? There were no dues. That is absolutely correct. There were no dues. At the first Rotary Club, the group voted that there would be no dues, that they would pay all their expenses just from 50-cent fines. Try that at your own club. Okay, question number 5. What was the Rotary Club Community Service first project?
1. I don't know, it's 2. Toilets.
That's right. The first community service project was the public restroom, and they were typically found only in saloons, and unaccompanied women were not allowed in saloons. So even though it took them a fair amount of years later to let the women into the club, they did consider us early on, which is really good. Okay, and the last trivia question. What is the furthest point from South Carolina that a Rotary Club banner has ever been displayed?
1.
Oh, he got it right the last time.
2.
No.
1.
No. Didn't he have it right the last time? No. No, I'm sorry. I beg your pardon. Go ahead. No. Right there. Right where you are. Yes.
1 is here. This is
There you go.
Would it be the moon?
The moon? Yes, it is. Thank you. In 1968, astronaut Frank Borman of the Rotary Club of Space Center of Houston took a club banner on his orbit around the moon on Apollo 8. So well done, all of you trivia questions. I'm sorry, sir, that was good. My decision was not funny. Okay, so the general session part of this conference is almost over, but the rest of the day is still, and the weekend is still full of all sorts of exciting things to do. So no matter how young you or old you are, a scavenger hunt is a fun thing to do, whether you know the city well or whether you don't. And you receive in your registration bag a full list of all of the items that you can find on our Main Street in Greenville. But Caroline Stewart, right over there, will also be at the door to give you a copy if you still need one. So basically, here's what you do: you show up to show that you found the item. Go to the item and take a selfie of yourself with the item, and then you can check in via your phone between 5 o'clock and 6:30 p.m. tonight. You show your selfies, and then you will qualify for the drawing of a wonderful prize. The items listed on that list are in order, starting with the other side of Main Street from the height. So you walk down that side, and then you come up on the east side. So they're all in order, just to help you out. And all families who find all items will be eligible for a prize. And the winners will be selected and announced in a drawing at tonight's event. And you need not be present to win. And that's primarily because we know where you live. So tonight's message. Okay, right. Yes, you'll find it right outside here, right down the hall just a little bit. So and tonight's festivities will be back in this room that will be transformed by Crossy Cox and her crew. And the awards and installation banquet will start at 7 o'clock. So I am really sorry, but can I take, please? Yeah, I could wear my mask, and I could wear do that all day long, but I just can't. I just can't wear heels too much to try to get back in the habit of doing this. So enjoy the rest of your day. And I look forward to